they still gotta play us. Let's go, baby. Woo!
Hey, don't run that ball on the one Hubbard, showed you how that go down. Feeling like Santino, tell him we want all the smoke now. We ain't snooping that commercial, we don't put no smoke down. Plus we back and you can't hide, so it ain't nowhere safe to go now. And we always gon' turn up in that jungle every time. How we ain't gon' win when we loaded in with 9? Plus T just came in signed, so the city gon' be fine. Jamar say he open every time and he ain't never lied. Look at how we win at it, the size of the old line. Giving Burrow extra time should be a federal crime. Hey, we right back on that path again. Put the division back to the test, they won't pass again. Orlando and Trent Brown, that's the Tower Twins. Feel like we only getting better as we stacking wins.
And we stacking.
Jaceki in for 6, that's a gritty again. AFC North battles getting gritty again. It's Yoshi second year, we just brought Burton in. Vaughn back to ring some bells, get the cracking again.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio. Home of some of the best wings around. That's right, I'm a West Sider. Joe's going to give me shit about it. It's all right, I'm a West Sider. I love Midwest's best barbecue. If you guys have not checked it out, I highly recommend it. Go check it out right there off 275 and the Ward's Corner Avenue exit. Tell Tim and Nicole Ice sent you. And if you guys are looking for windows and doors, I highly recommend Meyer Windows and Doors. Check them out at www.meyercincinnati.com for all your window and door needs. And my West Side peeps, gotta bring it back here. If you're looking for a great spot to go watch the game, go to Hail Mary's. It's your ticket to the game. They got big ass TV screen, beer specials, food trucks, free parking. Joe has been there. We've actually let him cross, the border from the east side to the west side. He actually likes Hail Mary's. So again, go check out Hail Mary's, your ticket to the game. Now that we're talking about him enough, I'm going to bring in my co-host, Joe Farsing. Well, what's up, Joe?
What's going on, brother? How are you?
Good, man. I was just going to, since you're a co-host now, I was going to talk about our new show we're doing live here at the Moline Lager House each and every Tuesday starting next week. It's Cincy Sports and Happy Hour with Jeff, Strawberry Ice, and Joe. We should put Joe on there, too, because you're going to be there. The show is going to be from 6 to 8. The happy hour is from 3 to 9. So come on and hang out with us. It's going to be a good time. What are we thinking about doing here? Are we just going to have a good time? We're just sit around and talk sports? Or we're going to have some shenanigans? What are we doing?
I don't know, but that is a handsome promo that you just...
Dude, I know. I don't know. I got to figure out who the hell did that.
The graphic artist is a freaking genius and underpaid.
He's definitely underpaid, I'll tell you.
Modest.
That's not both lies. Those are both lies. Not at all. Anyway,
I think we'll have plenty of sports to talk about. I mean, the Reds are doing so well. I mean,
oh God, yes.
Bengals right around the corner. That's the that's the driver of the conversation.
Hey,
but I mean,
kickoff of the season.
I know. Thank God.
Thank God. The other thing we have going on.
Been waiting for a kickoff since May.
Exactly. The other thing we have going on is each and every Sunday we'll be doing the Mercedes-Benz of Fort Mitchell at Moreline Lager House. The pregame experience, that's going to be 3 hours before every Bengals home game. Open bar, people. Open bar. It's $100 to get in, but it's open bar. And you get delicious Moreline food. DJ's going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be there. Joe might make an appearance. I know Bengal Captain's going to be there. We're going to have an absolute blast. Tickets are on the Moreline Lager House website, along with all my Twitter feed, all my social media feeds as well. Well, we had some roster moves today. Travion Williams got released, but it sounds like he's going to come back. Picked up a couple players. Let's get to the man who's been on top of all this from the get-go. He is from PFN. He is Dallas Robinson. What's going on, Dallas?
Hey, how you guys doing? Yeah, it's been a long week already of transactions and injuries and moves, and it feels like it's only Wednesday, but I feel like it's been longer.
Exactly. We signed KJ Harris. Who we signed somebody else too, Joe. You're telling right before the show started. Who else did we sign?
Justin Rogers.
Justin Rogers.
Late 7th round draft pick of the Cowboys this year that they waived.
So they are concentrating on the defensive line, which I am happy with because KJ Harris is kind of going to replace Myles Murphy. I don't know if he's going to replace him with the snaps. What's your thoughts on the two guys they signed, Dallas?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, I didn't know much about KJ Henry until today, really. I mean, he's a guy that I kind of looked into a little bit. 5-star recruit coming out of high school. Went to Clemson. I think that's a pipeline that the Bengals obviously like. Didn't do really a lot last season with the Commanders. Just had a 6.2% pass rush win rate. I can never say that phrase. That's always
Win
a
rate.
difficult phrase to say. But he's got size, 6'4", 255, 4.63 40-yard dash. If you narrow it down to what he did just this preseason, I looked at PFF stats. Among edge rushers with at least 50 snaps in this preseason, number 3 in pass rush win rate, 4th most pressures, number 9 in PFF pass rush grade, number 11 in overall defensive grade among edge rushers. He's been good this preseason. I mean, I think when it comes down to what he's going to do in the regular season, I think you get him in the system, you see what he looks like under Lou Anarumo and see how many snaps he can play. But this was a position I think we knew the Bengals were going to try to address either via waiver claim or a free agent signing or adding extra bodies to the practice squad. So I think this is like a good way to kind of get a little bit more youth, get a little younger on the edge, get an intriguing physical guy like this and see what Lou can do with him.
Exactly. I'll go with Dustin Cross here. Thanks for the $5 super chat. He said, hell of a pickup with KJ Hill and Justin Roberts, both ascending players with some upside. Bengals are always good on the waiver wire. And like you said, this is something that I think we all expected them to do because of the injuries, because of the lack of depth for me on the interior defense as far as run stopping goes. So I like both these guys that picked up. Joe, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, the lines were, I mean, the defensive line was completely decimated. Let's say completely, but as decimated as, you don't want to see in preseason and everything. So, yeah, getting these guys that are, again, they are young. One was drafted last year. KJ Henry is an old, 25 and a half years old. God, that's so young.
Yeah,
but also
old.
young. Yeah, I mean, his position coach at Clemson was Marion Hobby, Bengals defensive line coach, played on the other side of the line across from Miles Murphy. I think it just makes a lot of sense. Do you see them or do you see KJ Henry as someone who's going to actually get in the rotation, or is he just going to be there as an extra guy still behind Osai in the rotation?
Well, I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, they definitely need the bodies, right? I mean, I think you were hoping for Murphy to play a big role from the get-go. That's not going to happen for at least 4 weeks. I've been hoping for a Joseph Osai breakout since the past couple of seasons. So I think
we all have.
This is his big opportunity because what are you really expecting from Sed Johnson? I mean, I think he's looked impressive throughout training camp and the preseason, but at the end of the day, he's a 6th-round rookie. I think that you've got to manage your expectations with someone like that. So I think the onus is really on Osai to play. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be a starters level snaps, but like right below that as the 3rd edge rusher on this team. And yeah, I think Henry, it depends. I don't know. I think you could see him being like the healthy scratch maybe the first few weeks while he gets his feet wet. But I think especially with that size and athleticism and speed that we mentioned, he's a perfect guy, I think, to play on special teams, especially with these new kickoff returns. I think Darren Simmons would love to have him. But yeah, it's interesting. The Bengals have 11 defensive linemen right now.
Right.
I don't believe they've ever kept 11 defensive linemen. I'm looking at Jay Morrison's amazing roster by year sheet, and I don't see an 11 anywhere on the sheet for defensive line ever. Actually, take that back. 2019, they kept 11, and at the first year they did so. So maybe they'll keep all 11. I don't know. To me, it feels like there's another move coming here. Because
do you think the defensive line might be the spot where they go to sign Trevion Williams back to the roster? Someone
I would think so.
Or someone.
Yeah, I mean, it feels that way, right? I mean, how many teams go into the season with 2 running backs?
Right, that's yeah. And Trevion came out on Twitter, said it's just roster gymnastics, so he's pretty confident he's coming back.
Yeah, and I guess whether that means practice squad with like a practice squad game day elevation type thing for a little bit while I'm not sure why it's kind of a weird set of transactions. I would think that I thought they might cut to Fele when they made Henry. They didn't do that. Maybe they'll send Finley Jackson to IR. We haven't gotten like a true update on what his injury status is like. They could still place him on IR at this point. So I think that's the area where they'll eventually make a move to get Trevion or somebody else in this roster.
Yeah, this is the 12 players I signed today are Nate Brooks, Cole Burgess, Devontae Cronin, Dominic Davis, Jalen Davis, Cam Grady, Shaquem Hardway. I can mess it up. Trey, thank you. Trey Hill, Cedric Jackson, PJ Jules, Kendrick Pryor, Logan Woodside. I don't think that's pretty good freaking practice squad right there. I think. What do you guys think?
They'll have to cut somebody. At Rodgers though, because he's being signed to the practice squad. So somebody's got to go.
They got cut somebody there, and then like you said, and then they're going to add whoever they cut from the main roster to make room for Traven. Because I cannot see them going with three. Even what you said, Dallas, elevating somebody, and Joe said this before we started the show, elevating Travion every week, which I just don't see them. I just don't see them doing that. They could. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to do that because your third running back, you're going to need them. So there's more roster moves that are going to happen here in the next couple of days, I think.
Yeah, I think so. So practice squads are at 16 players now, so they can actually add 4 more.
That's right. Yeah,
they changed all these rules with COVID. It's so complicated to remember, like, and who's eligible too. Like, there's new rules on who's eligible. They can keep certain amount of veterans, and certain amount have to be rookies and players with a few years of experience. But it seems like they're keeping some space open there, and Justin Rogers seems like he's going to fill one of those spots. Not a huge surprise. I mean, he's a guy they met with during the pre-draft process. He was. I think I put him in so many mock drafts I did for the Bengals, just thinking they were going to get a nose tackle at some point, which they did obviously with McKinley Jackson. But to get another big body, and you need guys like that in the AFC North, playing the 6 games you are against Cleveland and Baltimore. Who am I leaving out? Cleveland, Pittsburgh, of course. And they're all going to be run-heavy teams. You've got to have guys that can stop the middle, stop the run in the middle, and I don't think Chris Jenkins is necessarily going to be that guy. I mean, we're looking at him.
He's
more
a pass rusher. Yeah.
So, if McKinley Jackson is going to be out or hampered or whatever the case may be, not surprised they went out and at least took a look and added a guy like Rogers to the taxi squad.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's been my concern this whole time is we don't have since McKinley Jackson hasn't really played, he's been hurt. We don't have a run stopper. And not that McKinley Jackson is going to replace DJ Reader. Like I've said on here multiple times, you can't just replace DJ Reader with one guy. These other guys who are pass rushers are going to have to step up, or we're going to have the linebackers going to have to fill in the gaps or something. Somebody's got to step up to do it. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the elephant in the room. We went from being all happy, like, all right. I was like, dude, I was tooting my own horn. Jamar Chase was practicing 2 weeks after the season. I'm like, all right, we're good to go. And then today he's in street clothes, and this is what Zach had to say after practice.
Yesterday, when you said that you expected Jamar to practice, and today him not showing up.
I said that yesterday. I think every day is a new day. We'll keep working through it. Not going to make predictions on what tomorrow brings. At the end of the day, Jamar's a great dude. That means a lot to this team, and we'll just continue to take it day to day.
When does this become a distraction?
It's not. I mean, it's a one-off situation that you got to deal with, and again, we'll just continue to take it day to day.
You still expect me to play me over?
This is all part of that plan that we've talked about, so this is just the later stages of that plan. But I think it's wise for me just to say we're going to take it day to day and see what tomorrow brings.
As part of the plan, Zach, did you build in your own mind the fact that this could happen, things could change, he could maybe not practice?
I think you learn enough to not let anything catch you off guard, and it's just, again, the smartest thing for us to do is just keep working through it, keep taking it day to day. Again, he's a huge member of our team, and appreciate him and look forward to getting him back hopefully at some point soon.
Now that's interesting because yesterday he was all going forward. He's practicing. He's expecting him to play day one, and now he doesn't know. So Dallas, in your opinion, what does that mean? Does that mean that we might have been getting close to a contract, and then Jamar didn't like what they offered, and he's like, screw it, all right, I'm not going to practice today until we get this ironed out? Or, like I said, I was being tongue-in-cheek. I was like, maybe it's a scheduled off day. It's not going to be a scheduled off day. I mean, they're playing practicing until, Thursday or Friday, then they got the whole weekend off for Labor Day, and then I don't think they start back till Monday or Tuesday next week. So I doubt it's a scheduled off day for real. I mean, I'm being silly when I was put on Twitter, but what's your thoughts? Why is Jamar street clothes?
It's a weird situation. It's tough to know what to make of it. And part of me wants to say everything is going to be fine. Like in the back of my mind, like that is what I think. I think he'll practice next week. I think he'll play in week 1. If you put a gun to my head and ask me what's going to happen, that's what I think will happen. But you can't pretend like this whole thing hasn't been weird, right? It's been very weird from the get-go. And I don't think anyone on the Bengals, the way Jay and I have framed it on our show is it feels like there's an unspoken agreement between Chase.
Well, they keep saying that, but then he goes and practices, and then he does it. That doesn't sound like an agreement to me.
Yeah, until today. Today was kind of like the weird day where it's like, oh, okay, he made his statement throughout the summer. He made sure his message was known. Now let's get back to business. We'll get him back at practice. We'll get ready and go win a Super Bowl, hopefully. Right. So today, I think to go back to not practicing, it's naturally going to open up all these questions. And you can just tell Zach Taylor's like uncomfortable answering this stuff at this point. I mean, that was 2 minutes to watch. It's brutal to watch that. Like, it is, honestly. And like, he's very good at navigating this type of thing, I think, and keeping the team together. And he's never going to like let anything slip about what's really happening. I don't think anyone's really expecting that, but it is awkward. And he said it straight up. It's not a distraction, but it's going to be if Jamar is not practicing next week. Yeah. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And we've seen this, out in San Francisco with Brandon Ayuk, a very similar situation where it's like, what's the end game going to be? I feel like we haven't seen it in years past where these holdouts / hold-ins have come this close to the regular season. It feels like stuff usually gets wrapped up a little bit before now. So to get it this close, what are we now? 8 days away from the start of the regular season and 10 or 11 days until the Bengals play week 1. I mean, it's coming right down to it. So I think no matter what happens the rest of this week, if Jamar doesn't practice or whatever, if he's not practicing next week, I mean, just get ready for all hell to break loose. That's what I think is going to happen.
To me, this kind of smacks of negotiation was coming along, fairly well enough for him to be able to be at practice earlier this week, and then there was a snag yesterday or today or whatever, and now he's back to putting a little pressure. I don't know if maybe it was what Taylor said in practice yesterday, that like he's here for practice, blah 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 blah, or whatever. But it just seems like it's just they know they're trying, like tweaking the original plan, getting over that last little hump. I hope that's the case. I'm tired of it. I'm exhausted by it. There's still more to go because obviously not going to sign a contract tomorrow or anything, anytime in the next couple of days. I don't think.
Hopefully.
Right.
Hopefully.
But if anything, I think it'll be over the weekend, hammered out over the Labor Day weekend. But it just, I get it's NFL contract, it's 2024. It's how it goes. But it's, as a fan, it's just exhausting. And as someone who covers them, it's got to be exhausting that, yeah, you have a lot of content to write about, but it's like Groundhog Day. You're writing the same crap over and over and over, right? Outside of adding new numbers when someone else signs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, luckily I get to write about the entire NFL, but Jay, I think is very, very bored by this subject at this point. And you're right. It's like talking about how the negotiations might have gone. Something did happen this week in that CeeDee Lamb got an extension from the Dallas Cowboys. So he's at $34 million now. Justin Jefferson is at $35. I mean, could we see Chase just come in at 34.5 and go right in the middle of those two in terms of AAV? And obviously there's a lot of things in terms of guarantees and how the contract is structured that the Bengals would want to have their way and everything like that. But just in terms of straight AAV, it does seem like 34.5 is right there for the taking, unless Jamar is dead set on being the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, which he very well may be. Yeah,
he said it before.
He has said it, and I think that's a tough argument, I think, to argue that he should be paid more than Justin Jefferson. And if you're the Bengals, I think that's probably a line in the sand that they're willing to draw, is that he doesn't have the argument, I think, to top Justin Jefferson at this point.
Not this offseason, yeah, exactly.
If he goes out and has a Pro Bowl or All-Pro caliber season, then absolutely. With the cap being raised next year and everything like that, absolutely. But right now, I think it might be tough for him to get over Justin Jefferson's mark.
Yeah, that's where I think this year he actually, well, at least I'm hoping that he will get to that level, because I think he's going to be more of a focal point on the offense this year, with them being able to move him around more than they had in the past. Now, if he doesn't play, then it's kind of hard to do that. Now, my point to this whole thing, Dallas, and he can go get mad at the NFLPA for negotiating this. He literally has no leverage. I mean, if he doesn't show up for practice, he's showing up for practice. If he doesn't show up, he leaves. He's automatically, from what I understand, fined $40,000, and then he loses his game checks. And the thing is, if he starts missing games, he's got to play a certain amount of games to accrue an NFL season to get to free agency. So it really doesn't do him any good. I mean, the sit-in, fine, but I don't think missing games or anything is going to do him any good. To be honest, it's just going to hurt him.
No, that's the thing, and that's why I keep coming back to like what does he have to gain? Because there is nothing. He's just
Right.
going to lose another season towards free agency. It's not going to help him. Like we've seen players in other teams, like Le'Veon Bell comes to mind, where they're just like adamant, I'm going to do my way or the highway.
How'd that work out for him?
Jamar, how did that work out for him? Number one, and Jamar
Yeah.
just doesn't strike me as that type of guy either. That it's like I think he can see reality and see where the situation is. So I don't think that it's going to be coming down to a situation where Jamar is sitting out games, because it just doesn't make sense for him personally. But if it does, man, T. Higgins, wide receiver one.
Yeah.
Think about the contract he'd be in for next offseason if that happened.
Exactly. That's all. That's good to just help T. Higgins. And the thing is, honestly, I think I said I think the Bengals should start off at worst 3-1. I think the Bengals should start off 3-1 even if we don't have Jamar because of the schedule. Yes, I know we're going to Kansas City. That will that could be the 1 or 3-1, 4-0. But I really do think we can start off like that even without Jamar. And not that I don't want to. I'm not saying that at all. I want Jamar in here, but the way the schedule is set up, we could.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Patriots, the Commanders, and the Panthers are maybe the 3 worst teams in the NFL. Like
the Giants,
3 of the
right
3
there, yeah.
Giants, and who they're going to be playing soon too. So it is not a daunting slate at all. Now, I mean, you could be worried about the Patriots defense, and I think the Patriots do still have a pretty good defense even without Belichick and having traded Matt Judon. But yeah, I think that the way the Bengals schedule sets up, even if this situation comes to pass where Jamar's not there, I don't think they'll have a huge problem.
I got a question. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I would say I just don't see any way that Chase isn't out there, because he could go out on week 1 versus the Patriots, get injured, miss the entire year, and he'd still be in line for the same paycheck that he'd be waiting out this year. So it's not a matter of him. Like I understand it. That's the way business is done. It's just I don't see an upside to him sitting out games. So
I don't either.
I wholly expect
right.
that, contract or not, he will be here. He's got complained to the NFLPA or the league that the contracts are structured as goofy as they are. You've got that 5th-year option that incentivizes. Like T. Higgins lucked out because he was a top draft at the top of the round
Second
2
round.
at the bottom of round 1 because he could negotiate a year earlier. Now, granted, that hasn't come to fruition, but it's just a matter of he's going to be on the field. Just figure it out. Either get it done or don't get it done. I don't care.
And this whole thing that Adam Schefter says, well, Jamar Chase is not going to play for $1 million a year. I'm like, well, he kind of has to.
and he's not playing for $1 million a year. That's the way the contract is structured.
Right.
The base salary is $1 million, but all of
he has a roster bonus
and everything
too.
else.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
The
So,
roster
yeah.
bonus. Come on, don't. Schefter sucks. He has axe to grind because nobody in Cincinnati gives
Talks to
him scoops, and he hates it. They talk to Rappaport. They talk to Graffalo.
All the NFL guys, they'll talk to Schefter.
and he absolutely it galls him to no end.
So you just make shit up.
Exactly, or he'll just he'll kind of literally make a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah, but I mean,
I think you make a great point, Joe, about that. Even if Jamar were to get injured in week 1, what would happen to him? Because the NFL is not scared of paying elite talent. Look at what happened to Dak Prescott. Like he got a gruesome leg injury and still got all the money from Dallas.
Well, look at Justin Jefferson last year. He had 2 injuries. He still got paid.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're talking about a career debilitating injury, Jamar is at that level where it's going to be really hard to take his market value down.
Exactly. Paul Payne's got a question here. Says, would it void the 5th-year option if Chase sits out this season? I don't think it will. Is that?
No, it just pushes it back another year.
Push it back another year.
I think that's right. It is the accrued service and all that stuff can be so complicated. I believe
6 games to accrue a season.
I think it's 6 games. Yes, I'd have to look all that up or ask Jason at Over the Cap for his opinion on all that stuff. It's so convoluted, but yeah, I think it would just push everything back. I think you're right.
All right, let's get this question from Keith. Let's see here. Ice Joe Dallas. What would you think about the Bengals taking a flyer on Kadarius Toney? The kid had a great upside, was hurt with the Giants, dropping some easy passes last season, but it got in its head. Joe already says no. What do you got?
Who are you who are you dumping out of the wide receiver room?
Right. Yeah, true.
Has concentration and hand issues. So where's he going to fit in? He'd be wide receiver 3 or 4 or somewhere around there.
Yeah, he'd be on the practice squad.
He's pretty reliable. Like, it's one thing if he's explosive and you can stay in your number 1, number 2 that could have some concentration issues if it's George Pickens or something. If it's your 3 or 4, you need that guy to be sure-handed, or else you're going to be looking for a new gig, after dropping a couple passes in a week or running the wrong route.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I would love him as like a kick returner. I mean, amazing kick return in the Super Bowl a couple years ago against the Eagles that helped them win that game. But Kadarius Toney is not a fit for this locker room, I don't think. I mean, Andy Reid and the Chiefs are willing to take chances on like every single dude with a personality problem, and they cut Kadarius Toney. Maybe not all because of that. A lot of it was on field stuff too, but man, it's like, no, I think Kadarius Toney, I'm not saying he's going to be out of the league. I think he's too talented for that, but he's made so many high profile boneheaded mistakes that like, I think it's going to take like, you're going to have to sell a fan base on the idea of bringing him in.
Now, one thing you said about kick return, I thought was interesting. I saw this at training camp. Darnell Burton was reported today back at kick return again. I am here for
Darnell Burton was a Bengals shooting, or was a Bearcat shooting guard in the 90s. You mean Jermaine Burton?
Jermaine Burton, sorry. You know me, it's just like I did Mike Scott and Nick Scott. I forget it. Anyway, Burton was back at kick return. Thanks for correcting me there, Joe. He's back at kick return. It would be interesting, Darnell Burton. He get the football and shoot a 3-pointer.
The dog. We'll I love that guy.
Oh, dude, he was awesome. Anyway, we're getting off track here. Burton at kick return. I am here for it. I think it's going to be electric. I like him there, and then Chuck Sizzle at punt return. What's your thoughts there, Dallas?
Oh, I love it. Why not? Why not try and get the ball in his hands? He's a very explosive guy. We saw that during the preseason, even if it was against backup, guys who are going to be accountants and stuff after the preseason. It was still impressive the way he got down the field, got separation. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to get him more involved. And maybe he's not ever going to be. I don't think he's like a classic guy who's going to play in the slot. I know he did that in college some, but I just see him more as a perimeter receiver, like overall as the long-term T. Higgins replacement. I really do think Yoshivas is going to take most of those inside snaps, or, as you mentioned before, I think, Jeff, moving Chase into the slot and doing different alignments and things like that. But there's no reason you can't get the ball in Burton's hands through special teams. And I think Jay mentioned it a couple times on our show that he had some issues with like catching punts in practice a couple times, and maybe dropped a fair catch at one point. So like there are obviously some technical issues he's going to have to work on if that's something this is new to him. I'm not sure if he did returning at Alabama that much or not, but it's just another way to get get the ball in an explosive guy's hands and make plays. And I don't see what the downside of it could be.
Yeah, I don't either. I think it's going to be the thing is that now one thing I want to ask you about the kickoff here, with them only returning the ball if they kick it to the end zone, if I'm getting this right, to goes to the 30-yard line, right? Is that correct? The 30-yard line? Is that where it goes?
I believe so.
Now I've seen in the last couple training camp games I watched that they were still kicking it in the end zone because it only goes to the 30. And I heard some rumors that they might hurry up and change it and go to the 35, so it makes it a bigger penalty. Because they still might kick it into the end zone and just take it at 30 and forget it. Which I hope they don't do it. I want to see the kick return here. But what's your thought? Have you seen that more trend in the later preseason games, or am I just seeing stuff?
I don't know. It does seem like people were just kicking it into the end zone. Yeah, and maybe that will just be how it works, and maybe that all this work will be for nothing. And
I was just going to say
the kickoff rates will just stay where they are. I really don't know. It's been. I don't know. I don't know about how you guys feel about it, but like it hasn't been as exciting as I thought it would be. But I'm hoping that's just because special teams coaches are not willing to show anything that they want to do in the regular season. Like maybe I was hoping that Darren Simmons and all these other special team coaches would have all this creativity and have some really cool offensive like plays for returns, and maybe they will once the season starts. But didn't really see a ton of that during the preseason, so I don't really know what to think of it yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a good chance that they're just kind of experimenting around. Like, well, if we kick it in the end zone, how far do we have to kick it in the end zone for someone to not return it? Because I saw a couple guys return it from a couple yards deep in the end zone. Of course, they got tackled inside the 20. But again, this is what preseason is for. It's just kind of seeing what teams are going to do, and just kind of play around and see what happens. I hope they don't I don't know. it's neat. It's, to try something different. I don't care. Like, I'm not someone who's like a traditionalist that's like, oh my God, they can't screw with the game. They're making it. This is no longer. I don't care if you want to try to make it more entertaining. It's just, I don't think anything is going to be that.
I want it to be a play, at least something.
I think they should go back to the original XFL where they put the ball at the 50 and two guys run after it, run after it for a scrum, and guy separated his shoulder on the very
first one. Yes,
first game, guy separated his shoulder. So
yeah. I don't see the Players Association letting them do it.
Yeah,
NFLPA probably not.
But I was listening to Bill Belichick said this, I think, on Pat McAfee, and I heard LeVar Arrington also say this. Their thought is to move the kickoff farther back and let them do that. But I think the point is, which they could do it. It's the running up, the gunners. They don't want them to run up. They don't want to do the wedge breakers. They don't want the big impact hits. So they still can do the same thing, like line up where they're at and move the kickoff back to make it harder to kick it off into the end. But these guys, dude, these kick guys, the kickers, they can kick it from, I think, one end zone to the other now. Their legs are so powerful. I don't think it matters if they move it back or not.
Yeah, I can't imagine they would change anything like now with the season right around the corner. So I think it's probably going to stick with how it was in the preseason. And I don't know. I don't really care that much, I guess. I wouldn't be. I'd be fine if they just put the ball at the 25 and just said go. And just got rid of all kickoffs, I guess.
Which I thought they might start doing, but I'm like, that's NFL Players Association. You're losing jobs. So I don't know if they go for that.
You still have 53 guys on a roster, so you're not losing.
True.
I hear that argument, and I laugh my ass off. It's like, you still have a 53-man roster. You have 46 guys active now, not just 45. Like, whose job are you taking? You're just bringing, like, your kick returner isn't making a lot of money. Like, if he's just a kick return guy, so you're going to be replaced by someone who's probably, making a little more money at a different position. I don't. Dumb argument.
Well, thanks. God. All right, so Dallas, we're like I said, a little over a week from starting here, and I already said that I think the Bengals are going to get off to a good start this year, even with or without Jamar Chase. That's just a feeling I have. Where are you at on the schedule and the beginning of the season and how the Bengals are ramping up right now?
I think it really sets up well for them to go on a really nice early season run and kind of, I wouldn't say like run away with the division. That's never going to happen in a division that's as strong as the AFC North. But I think you have to, like we mentioned before. 3-1 just feels like an inevitability, right? Absolutely. It would be beyond surprising if they lost any of those first 4 games beyond Kansas City,
right?
And then it really never gets to a point where it's like daunting. I know there's this stretch where they're playing, 3 games in 11 days later in the season, but it never gets to a point where it totally feels overwhelming. Last year, the Bengals played one of the most difficult schedules
in history,
40 years.
Yeah.
It couldn't.
And they were ramping up, Dallas. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They were ramping before Joe got hurt. They were on that ramp up where they've done the last 2 seasons before that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's like to finish where they were and to almost sneak into the playoffs with that up against them and playing with a backup quarterback was incredibly impressive. And now you're on the other side of that coin. You're playing a 4th place schedule. I think in our PFN strength of schedule, I believe we have them as the number 4 easiest schedule in the NFL. So it really sets up really well. And I think the other AFC North teams are all in the bottom 10 in terms of most difficult. So I think you're really looking at a team that is set up to win this division. And then, crapshoot, playoffs are always a crapshoot, but as you get in, win the division, and solidify yourself as a playoff caliber team, I think they have as good a chance as anybody in the AFC and probably the NFL.
Short of Kansas City, they're last handful of years they've got the most success in the postseason. What other quarterback out of the AFC are you going to trust in the postseason? Josh Allen puts up big games, but the team shrinks, and that team has come back so far this year. Lamar Jackson has had some historic seasons in 2019 and 2023, and they crap out in the playoffs. So Bengals get in the playoffs, and the rest of the league is on notice.
Exactly. Now talk about the AFC North, and this is one of the most competitive divisions in football. We got the 2 teams for me that are going to give us not only the most problem, but the ones that historically we always got to watch out is the Steelers and the Ravens. Now, Steelers, when you have two quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback. So to me, that they're weak there, and everybody keeps talking about Baltimore. But correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Baltimore replacing 3 to 4 starting offensive linemen? Am I correct on that?
They lost 3 offensive line starters. They did. John Simpson, Morgan Moses, and Kevin Zeitler all left. Or one Morgan Moses was traded. The other 2 left as free agents. So that's a concern. They lost Mike McDonald, who, for my money, is the second best defensive coordinator after Steve
They lost a lot of coaches too.
Yeah. So I think Baltimore, you can kind of give them the benefit of the doubt in some ways, that they're always ready with younger, newer players that they coach up, they've drafted, they've developed. I give them the benefit of the doubt a little bit. Pittsburgh, man, I feel like we're in for Mike Tomlin's first non-losing season. Like I would be really surprised if we don't get there. And I don't understand the decision to go with Russell Wilson. I really don't. Like I don't get how you can choose a 36-year-old who played like he did the past couple of years over a 26-year-old in Justin Fields, who we all know Justin Fields has a lot of issues as a passer and has
But he has way more potential than Russell Wilson does right now.
He's so much more dynamic, and the long-term potential. I mean, Pittsburgh is there are reports that they want whoever their starter is this year to be their starter next year too. It's like you're going to come. What are you going to do? Assign Russ to an extension now at age 36? Like it really does not make sense to me. I understand. Mike Tomlin's a conservative coach. I understand going with Wilson from that regard, but I think that's a mistake, and I do think we'll see Fields regardless. Regardless of who is the actual nominal starter. I'd be surprised if we don't see Fields at some point this year.
I agree with that. Now the Browns, or the Clowns, however you want to call them, they go as good as a quarterback, and he hasn't been anything to write home about since he's got to Cleveland. And the last 2 years, I don't see him getting any better. And that's just my opinion. What do you think there, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you. If you take the quarterbacks away, if you take Joe Burrow away from the Bengals and you take Deshaun Watson away from the Browns, outside of diehard Bengals fans who basically look through everything through rose-tinted glasses, pretty much everyone would say the Browns had the better roster from 1 to 52, not counting starting quarterbacks. And yeah, they're only going to go as far as their quarterback played. They kept they brought in Jameis Winston as a emergency policy, I guess. But you really going to trust that guy? I mean, I thought they maybe should have tried to hang on to Joe Flacco.
I think they should have. He took them to the playoffs.
Right, and he threw a lot of interceptions. Like he was literally just
shit.
He was pulling his best.
Jameis Winston says, "Hold my beer. Watch this."
Right, exactly.
More.
And if they can get solid, if they could get Andy Dalton quarterback play out of Deshaun Watson, they're a Super Bowl contender. But I don't think you can't count on that guy. I don't think that you're gonna. If they can pull in 10 wins out of that quarterback, if he plays all 17 games, and who knows, he's had injury history, besides legal issues and all that crap. I don't know how far you can trust them either.
No, I did an article earlier this season where I ranked all the NFL rosters, not including quarterback. I had the Browns as the number 2 roster in the NFL, behind only San Francisco. I mean, they're stacked from 1 to 52. But I don't know how you can trust Deshaun Watson this season. He's played 12 games in 2 years with Cleveland. He's not looked good at all. Everyone loves to point to this second half he had against the Ravens last year. It was fine. It was fine. It wasn't. If that's what you're pointing to, then there's a problem, I think. And he hasn't played all preseason. He's dealing with general arm soreness. Another kind of injury that we don't really know where that's going to go.
Didn't he have that last year?
He had a shoulder surgery, and I forget what the other injury he had before
something
that.
else. Shoulder.
I'm a Winston fan, so I would love to see Winston in this offense and see what he could do.
He's a fun.
He's very fun. He's very fun. I mean, he threw 30 touchdowns the same year he threw 30 interceptions. So it's gonna be fun. He had that 2021 half a season with Sean Payton in New Orleans where he was really good before he tore his ACL. And I've just been rooting for him to get another chance, and this would be a spectacular opportunity for him. I don't know what to make of Watson. He wasn't good when he was healthy, and I don't know if you expect him to be healthy this year. So at
this point, I don't see him getting back to where he was at Houston. You're 3 years beyond that. Guys just don't all of a sudden get better. Sure you don't get better as you get older. If you're declining, you're declining. You usually don't get any better.
He was amazing in Houston, as much as I hated to say it because it turned to be such a gigantic creep. But he was up in the upper echelon, right behind right behind Patrick Mahomes in terms of the quarterback tiers, and that guy's gone. I mean, he looks like a guy who's just, I think they'd rather have Jacoby Brissett or someone like that, just a placeholder over that guy. They'll point to the record. I think he was 5-1 in starts last year, but look at the numbers. That's because they have a good team.
Exactly.
And if you look at his cap hit for this year, it's very curious that the Browns have not restructured his deal like they have in years past. In years past, they've taken that $46 million base salary he has, they move it down to the league minimum, save $45 million in cap space. They didn't do that this year. And they still could. They could still do it at any point this year if they want to, but they did not do that. And it makes me wonder, are they trying to think of an exit strategy? It's going to be a lot of dead money whenever it happens.
The worst contract in NFL history. Go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
$136 million dead cap money for if they cut him before 2025. Right now it's at 200.
You could do a post June 1 cut next offseason, and you would take $110 million in dead money.
God! Worst contract in NFL history.
I think you're looking at like maybe in 2026. If we don't touch it now, we could get out of it.
Only 63.
Oh, yeah, only 63. Maybe the cap's at $350 million by then or whatever. We can absorb. But that's how they built this roster, though, and it's
right.
I think they've done that with the intent of, okay, we really only need league average quarterback play out of this guy, and we could be a really good team. But they're not even getting that, right? They're not even getting that. So when you're paying a guy, his cap at $63 million, and you're getting bottom 5, bottom 10 quarterback play, it's just not going to add up.
And the problem is, by the time that they get out of that contract, their roster is gonna they're gonna lose guys because they're running up against it. I mean, you already have. I mean, Myles Garrett has a huge contract, and he deserves it. I mean, he's probably the best defensive player in the league.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb, I don't know what you're gonna expect from him immediately coming back from the nasty knee injury, but
has he played yet this preseason? Do we know? I don't know if he has.
I think he's on track to at least start.
Yeah, I haven't seen him, so I don't know. I was just curious.
They've got a lot of guys, got more guys that'll be coming up for money. I mean, that's by the time that he's out of their, by the time he's out of their, and the money's off the books. What's that team going to look like? We have no idea.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a very good point. And they are, I think they try and get younger every offseason. I think Andrew Berry, their GM, is really good about that. But it's a really good point that a lot of their core pieces, Amari Cooper's not going to be there in 2 years. Elijah Moore is not going to be there in 2 years. There's their offensive tackles, Jack Conklin and Jedrick Wills, are good players, but they're Jack Conklin especially getting older. So that's a really good point that how they manage this over the next couple of years is going to be really, really fascinating to watch.
Yeah, exactly. Dallas, I know you got to get the heck out of here. You got to go be a big radio star. So do me a favor, plug some stuff that you and Jay got going on before I let you go.
Yeah, we were supposed to record our reaction episode today, but Jay is under the weather. He's on the PUP list, I guess you could say. We're not sending him to IR yet. He's on short-term IR. So we're planning to record tomorrow instead. So look for that tomorrow. And then all of Jay's great content on the Bengals, my stuff on the general NFL at ProFootballNetwork.com.
There you go.
Physically unable to podcast list, right?
That's exactly right.
I like it.
That is exactly right.
I like that. I wonder if I can get paid for that sometime. Physically unable to podcast.
No, I just came up with that. How are you getting paid? Anyway,
because it's my show. I don't know. Anyway,
that's my last time on here.
Thanks, Dallas. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Good stuff, man. Thank you.
Oh, God. So, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about some Bearcats? You want to talk about some Reds? You want to talk about Rhett Lauder maybe making his debut? What's on your mind?
I mean, a huge Bearcat fan. I've got my season tickets. I'm going to be missing their home game this week because I will be in Chicago watching Pearl Jam at Wrigley Field, which is fucking awesome. I'm jealous.
I've been to Wrigley Field to watch a baseball game. I think it'd be cool. Where are your seats at? Are you in the stands or are you on the field?
I tried to get on the field. I'm actually, because I'm a dork, I'm part of a 10 Club, which is their fan club, and they had pre-sale tickets, and you could get general admission or seats on the field. I didn't get to those in time, so I'm in the I think I'm on first baseline, so it's still with a nice sharp view of the stage and everything. So Absolutely, just looking for that, man.
So are you going to be in the? Are you too old to be in the grunge, the pit? You know, the mosh pit? Are you going to be? Are you going to be able to do that?
I don't know how you're going to be in the mosh pit when you're actually in the like stands on the steps.
Jump.
Like this, you're gonna fall over the railing.
Look, just remember when you're younger, you just get drunk and jump and do stupid stuff. This is what you're trying to do again. You're trying to get back.
That's
to your
why
youth.
I'm bringing my wife because she's my better angel that keeps me from doing dumb shit.
Yeah, okay, well, there's no fun in that. I mean, come on. I want a video of you shirtless and in the mosh pit. And,
Nobody wants video of me shirtless.
Coming back on the show, my arms in a sling because I got too old to mosh pit.
I've been in mosh pits before. I try to stay in the wall because, like, if you get in the middle, like, you just get the shit kicked out of you. At my age, it's a bad idea.
Yeah, at my age is a bad idea. I haven't gotten in there in years. Joe, has Eddie Vedder?
He does because he does the weird like gesture. I don't know. No one talks shit about Eddie Vedder. He's my boy. Plus, who else's boy Eddie Vedder is?
Bronson Arroyo.
Bronson Arroyo.
Exactly. We gotta get him back on the show sometime.
Yeah, there's a non-zero chance of that, Brad. I might be in Cook County Jail. I hope not. Again, it's something will have gone really wrong. My wife will have failed at her duty to keep me from doing dumb shit, but it wouldn't be the first time.
No, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure you've done dumb shit with her before. So
that's how we have 2 kids.
That's how I tell my kids. See, they work twice. See, Dad. Oh, dead. Anyway, so what's your good?
I was going to say so I don't know what to with UC's game. I don't know what the team's going to look like.
I don't know.
And this is the biggest thing that I hate about the transfer portal. That unless you're one of the elite teams that either keep players or the quantity, the guys that you're bringing in. You don't know what your team's going to look like. You can look in camp and you hear the reports and quarterback play looks really good. Brendan Sorsby looks like a legitimate guy, or they've got depth here and there. You really don't know till the rubber hits the road. And even last year, Bearcats looked really good to the first 2 weeks. I mean, they smoked. I don't even remember what crap team that you went to the game with me with.
Yeah, it was it was just really hot that day, but they kicked their ass.
Yes, game. I almost died. Next week they went to Pitt in 2020.
They beat Pitt.
And they beat Pitt.
That was like the last good game they did, and then it went.
Right. Yeah, and then the season just fell off a cliff. So it's fool's gold until you get into conference season and know what to know what you really have. So I don't know. I think that a successful season for them, and we're talking long term, is 6-6. I think at this point.
I think they're 6. Yeah, I think at worst they're 6. I think they're going to at least get a bowl game this year. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but like I said, we don't know what you had. And a perfect example, you and me were talking about this yesterday off air. Florida State, Georgia Tech. Florida State was ranked 10th. Georgia Tech wasn't ranked at all, and they beat them. So you don't, and that's the way. Like preseason polls really didn't matter before. They really don't matter now because you have no idea what you have until you actually start playing because every team is going to be completely different than the year before because of the transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at, and if you're just going off of recruiting ratings and things like that to try to project forward, but that doesn't mean anything. UC went to the college football playoffs a couple years ago with a bunch of guys that 3-star recruits. So that is
except for Sauce, he's pretty good.
Sauce was a 3-star recruit,
but he's a first-round pick. So
right, but my point is,
I got you. Yeah,
you can't gauge talent unless you actually see it on the field. And Bearcats were filled with 2- and 3-star recruits. I mean, Desmond Ridder was pretty much just offered a kind of, hey, you want to keep your commitment after they kicked Tuberville to the curb. Fickle.
Thank God.
You still want to come here? Cool. Okay, great. You can come here. So.
Brad, what's the? Oh, you go ahead.
Brad, go ahead. What it takes Satterfield to keep his job? I think the buyout
is too high.
I don't know.
And 2 years, you can't.
If he bottoms out, if it's another shitty like
last year,
4-8, maybe 6-6. I think it's fine. It's because of step up in competition, step up. Having to totally rebuild a roster because of. Fickle leaving and all the crap that had to go with there. It's you have to prove to. I mean, not even the university. The university isn't going to be. Universities don't make this decision of who to fire guys unless they do or say something stupid. It's boosters. It's proving to the boosters that this program is on the right track. that this is the guy that can lead them back back to being a solid conference contending team.
Well, the thing is too is Sat came in late last year. I mean, for the most part. I mean, Luke. I mean, I did not expect Luke to leave last year, or the year before that, and he did. So that's the other thing. Is like some of these guys that played on the team last year weren't even here for spring ball. So that being said, there's no excuse for Savage not to improve upon what he did last year. I will be, if we don't we got to make a bowl game this year. I think if we don't make a bowl game, I'll be upset. But again, I'm with you. After 2 years in the bye, I don't think they're going to move on from him. And even if they do, the thing is, like, people always bring up these big name coaches if they move on. I like getting these guys from the MAC conference, these up and coming coaches, and bring them to Cincinnati. I know they won't be here for long, but
well, to a point. I mean,
it works.
UC has bumped their standing up. That like they're not the immediate leapfrog, that they used to be years ago with Brian Kelly and
Butch Jones.
Butch Jones, totally spaced on his name. The guy's a dork.
He went to Tennessee.
Yeah, he did a fine job, but he was a dork. But I mean, I don't care. I mean, you don't want a guy that wants to be here for forever, and that's why I was fine with Fickle. Like, you knew he wasn't going to be here for forever, because if you're there at a kind of middle of the road team, then you're there forever. That means you're
not
fine.
Good.
Like, you're good enough. You're 8-4 every year. Like, and that's not sexy.
Well, let's see. All right. So I have a question. So I have a question. Not that they're in the Big 12. Does that boast more for guys wanting to aspire to be a head football coach of UC? I mean, I know we're not. Don't get me wrong. They're going to leave for Wisconsin. They're going to leave for Ohio State. They're going to leave those bigger upper echelon schools. But I mean, does this make us like right below them now? I mean, we're down here a little bit. I think we're up a little bit closer now.
I'd say tier 3. I mean, you've got your absolute blue bloods. Ohio State, Michigan is back up in that level after 50 years of not being there.
Right.
Alabama, Clemson just dropped out of there.
We'll see. I'm curious how Alabama will do, since they had a lot of people leave and new coach. That'll be interesting.
They'll go 10-2, 10 and maybe 10-3. They'll make the SEC championship game and lose. They'll be fine. Like, they're Alabama. They got a good coach.
Yeah, they weren't. I mean, last time it took them forever to get before they had Saban. They sucked for 20 years.
But they didn't suck though. They were great until the very end. Saban didn't want to deal with the transfer portal.
No. I meant before they got Saban.
Well, I know, but
yeah, okay.
But Saban had to dig out of the depths. Where's Kalen DeWard digging out of?
Well, I mean, they had Bear Bryant. They didn't,
and they changed Stallings, and they won a title with Gene Stallings. But who was before? Was it Dennis Francione? I can't remember who Bama's coach was before Nick Saban.
Oh shit, I don't know. I know one of the Shulas was. I think
Mike Shula at some point.
I think they had a couple of them. I don't remember. I wasn't not an Alabama fan. I don't really remember. But yeah, Gene Stallings. The Gene Stallings, did he replace Bear Bryant? Was he like right after him? I think there was another.
Remember, he was the one. They won the title in '92.
Yeah, I was gonna say 92. I'm pretty sure 91, 92 they won it. But that was the first one they won since Bear Bryant. I don't think he replaced Bear. I don't. Like I said, I don't know. I'm not a Alabama fan. You have to look that up. But
Joe Kynes was the interim coach after Mike Shula was fired.
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, Dennis Francione was way back 2001, 2002. Mike Price was the guy that lied about, was hired and then lied about his background, and then Mike Shula was the we got to hire somebody.
You know how there's Shula coaches, unless you're.
Mike Shula went 10-23 at Alabama.
Ooh, how long was he there?
3 years.
Really? They gave him 3 years? Alabama?
Yeah.
Damn. Shoot. All right. Yeah, Satterfield's definitely not getting fired next year.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Crypt Keeper's got something for you here. He's pumping brakes, Joe. Don't get upset if they don't play Yellow Lead better. I was heartbroken when they did it to me, but I love Pearl Jam.
I love Yellow Lead better. That's not my favorite song, so if they miss
what's your favorite song? What's your favorite?
Rearview Mirror.
Really?
Awful verses.
Mine's I like verse. Mine's Even Flow.
Even Flow was their first name. That was their first big hit. So that was
that's. I mean, it gets me back to high school and all that stuff. I freaking love that. That and Jeremy. That's all off their first album, but that's still the ones I really like. I like almost all of Pearl Jam's music. I can't name the names of their newer ones. I don't. When I was younger, I could name all of them, but the newest ones I can't name them. But
Matter is a great album, by the way. If you get a chance to listen to it, that's their latest album that just came out.
I've probably listened to it. I'll have to check. Definitely have to make sure I check it out. Yeah, Keith said it's Black.
Black's a good one. That's my wife's favorite.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Gut-wrenching song, especially when he does it live.
You know, that's one band. I haven't gone to that many concerts, but that's one band I would like to see live sometime is Pearl Jam. I have not got to see them live, but I haven't gone to a lot of concerts. My wife and daughter next week are going to Meghan Trainor, and they asked
that bass.
Yeah, they asked, "Do you want to go?" I'm like, no, not really. Okay,
better things to do. Slip my wrist. I don't know.
You guys have fun.
I saw Pearl Jam in 2000, so that's a long time ago.
Jeez, what were you, 12?
They've been around a couple. What's that?
I said, what were you, 12 then?
20. Dude, I'm like a couple years older than you. Am I? Like we were probably in high school at the same time together.
Yeah, in 2000 I was 25. That's when Chandler was born.
Megadeth. I've seen Megadeth. I was at Mega Fest. It was Megadeth. Funk Junkies, Drain STH, and Clutch at Riverbend. I was in the pavilion. I actually got a guitar pick from their old guitarist, Marty Freeman.
Nice.
That was a cool show. I was into heavier, harder shit. I've seen Metallica a couple times. I've seen Sabbath. So,
ooh, last rock concert I went to, it was Motley Crue and Aerosmith. And
I'm so pissed. We have tickets for Aerosmith. This was their going away tour. It was postponed in we take it was in January. Steven Tyler had some kind of vocal cord injury. They postponed it. They rescheduled it for October, and then a few weeks ago they released. Yeah, they're done touring. Like that's the end. So
yeah, dude, I saw tour. I think Aerosmith. I think since that might have been it was toward the end of summer. This might have been the end of their tour. Aerosmith. They were. I was disappointed. Yeah. The Crew kicked their ass. The Crew was so much better live. The Crew is freaking nuts. I loved watching them live. Aerosmith is good, but Motley Crue. I've said this I think on here before. Like the Motley Crue was all. If you can see Motley Crue live, I'd highly recommend it.
It's more of like I like Aerosmith songs, especially stuff from like the late '80s, early '90s. My wife's a big fan of their stuff from like '70s and some of the stuff in the '80s and '90s. But it's a legend that's going out. And you get a chance to see him. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We saw Elton John a couple years ago, like an absolute goated legend, as the youngins kind of say.
Now my son here, he just put it up there. I was going to ask you to put it up there. He just went and saw it. Actually, I kind of like this band, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
I can't take him seriously with that name. I'm just
dude, they're good. He's
I've
played.
Heard a lot about him. It's just,
yeah, he's like seriously. You gotta listen to this. They play all kinds of stuff. And him and his buddy went there Sunday night. I did tell my son when he was talking about this that I wouldn't mind going, but then nobody reminded me, and then I called him and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're at the concert." I'm like, "Thanks, son. Thanks for
our tickets are all sold.
Whatever.
Don't have any for you."
Well, I see how you are. That's cool. Whatever. We're just getting into all kinds of stuff here, Keith.
I was Queensryche. I don't know a lot of Queensryche. Silent Lucidity is one of the most beautiful. I don't even know if you consider it a ballad. One of the most beautiful songs I have ever heard in my life. That song is absolutely fucking amazing. So turning that's getting heavy. Like
I don't even know.
I'm done with. They're like hard heavy metal.
Like that.
I'm past that stage. I listened to that stuff a little bit when I was younger, but I'm past it now. Now
I like the stuff. Like I like Korn. I'll listen to them, but that's my era. That's my era.
I liked Korn, and then I grew up. So
yeah. I don't. You'd say it's my wife. I never have grown up. So.
So regardless, I'm never. I know. I will still throw on some heavier stuff. I've got a playlist on Spotify. If I'm in a mood to just blast it at the top and have my watch tell me that I'm over 100 decibels, then I'll put on some heavy angry shit.
Where your watch tells you you're too old for this shit.
Yeah, I mean, I have hearing issues, and it's partly from that. So exactly.
Huh? So I have hearing issues too. Just usually when my wife is talking, I can't.
It's selective. It's selective.
It's very weird. But with that being said, you guys need to come out to the Moreline Lager House next Tuesday for Cincinnati and Happy Hour with me and Joe. We're going to be there from 6 to 8. Happy Hour starts at 3 o'clock, goes all the way to 9. So, come see this guy. I don't know if you really want to see him with that face or not, but, it's going to be fun. Check it out. We're going to have a good time. Richard Skinner's going to join us. So we're going to be there each and every Tuesday night starting next week. We're working on some cool guests and how we're going to set this all up and everything. But if you really want to see a interesting show, I would suggest go to the very first one that we do. Because we're going to be working all the bugs out there. So
dry run, the sound might be all weird and... Who knows? It'll be fun. We're supposed to test that stuff out tomorrow. But
yes, we'll be down, and we're supposed to do a hype video or a promo video tomorrow too. So you never know. You might see us watch our social media feeds. We might have a new video for you. It's gonna be fun. Also, the other thing we got going on is next Sunday, or not next Sunday, Sunday after that, we'll be celebrating the kickoff to the Bengals season with the Mercedes-Benz, the Fort Mitchell at Moreline Lager House. The pregame experience. It's 3 hours before the game. Make sure you get your tickets. It's $100. But like I said, people are like, oh my God, it's $100. But it's an open bar. And I'm like, Joe, you can speak on this. If it's an open bar, you can easily spend $100 on an open bar before a Bengals game.
Yeah, we paid for the unlimited drinks package. We went on a cruise, my family and I did a couple weeks ago, about a month ago. And we had to drink about $75 worth of beverages to make it worthwhile. We cleared that. So open bar are the two best words put together in the English language.
Plus, you want to be able to make sure you eat, so you maintain that balance, so you're not too stumbled in. So they'll have the buffet there as well. So it's gonna be an absolute blast.
Jimmy Buffett.
Hey, they might have the barbecue. What would you have yesterday? The barbecue grilled cheese.
The short rib grilled cheese, which is amazing. I get that usually all the time.
Dude, it's delicious.
It's good shit.
I recommend that. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. So, trust me. And remember, a portion of the proceeds will go to local charities. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. I cannot freaking wait. But thanks, guys, for watching. We've been live streaming on ZTV, Facebook, YouTube, X. You follow us on all that, along with Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. We got to get Joe out to this place. I know you're like an East Sider, blah, blah, blah. You still haven't been to Midwest Best. I want photographic proof that you're going to go to Midwest Best, and then you actually know Tim, because you keep saying you know Tim. I haven't seen any official photographs of this or anything, so we need to make this happen.
I at least know the name of the road. You keep calling it Ward's Corner Avenue. It's Ward's Corner Road.
Ward's Corner Road, whatever. I know where the hell it is. Dude, I'm West Side. At least I know how to get there. It's right off 275, Ward's Corner Road.
There you go.
That better? Yeah. You see it literally right off the highway, but dude.
Right.
Wings are freaking delicious.
On the east side, we keep shit nice and convenient.
It's nice and convenient here. You just don't know how to get anywhere around here. It's not my fault. It's not my fault you don't know how to drive around the west side.
I can get anywhere on the west side. I've literally driven every single area of the entire tri-state. So
because it's easy. West side's easy. West side's the best side. Speaking of the west side,
exactly. You drive really, really fast to get the hell out of there.
No, you drive really, really fast. You would go to Hail Mary's. Your ticket to the game. You can go there and hang out tonight. Watch. Are the Reds playing tonight? Yeah, the Reds playing tonight. You can watch them. Yeah, they're playing Oakland again tonight. You can watch them at Hail Mary's, the big ass TV screen, beer specials, food trucks. Go check them out this weekend. I know they got a lot of food trucks this weekend for Labor Day weekend. Free parking right across the street. Again, that's Hail Mary's, your ticket to the game. Also, if you guys are looking for windows and doors, check out Meyer Windows and Doors and more. I still don't know what the more is, We have to ask Maddie that sometime, find out what the more is. But check them out at www.meyercincinnati.com for all your window and door needs.
What's the window and door equivalent to a happy ending? Maybe that's what the more is.
Ooh. I don't know. Maybe I'll let you ask Maddie that next time you see him. All right. Other than that, Joe, you got anything you want to end this with before I get us out of here?
No. Bye-bye.
That's just sports, baby. See ya!
They still gotta play us. Let's go, baby. Woo!
Hey, don't run that ball on the one. one Hubbard showed you how that go down. Feeling like Santino, tell him we want all the smoke now. We ain't snooping that commercial, we don't put no smoke down. Plus we back and you can't hide, so it ain't nowhere safe to go now. And we always gon' turn up in that jungle every time. How we ain't gon' win when we loaded in with 9? Plus T just came in signed, so the city gon' be fine. Jamar say he open every time and he ain't never lied. Look at how we win at it, the size of the old line. Giving Burrow extra time should be a federal crime. Hey, we right back on that path again. Put the division back to the test, they won't pass again. Orlando and Trent Brown, that's the Tower Twins. Feel like we only getting better as we stacking wins.
And we stacking.
Jaceki in for 6, that's a gritty again. AFC North battles getting gritty again. It's Yoshi second year, we just brought Burton in. Vaughn back to ring some bells, get the cracking again.